Sometimes I wonder if I should just start an episode thinking out loud, wondering where my thoughts would lead, and then... Welcome back, guys. This is Madness in Nigeria Living, and I'm your host, Gesi. This episode is very interesting, and the reason this episode is interesting is I've had the thought process for a while, but what's the moral lesson? That's the question I kept on asking myself. And then I started thinking, why do I need a moral lesson? When did I structure this format wherein I have to give a moral lesson? And maybe to subvert that, I decided to not think about it and just go head first into the episode and just jump in and see where this will lead. So today we'll be talking about good intentions. One of my favorite quotes is, "The road to hell is built on a path of good intentions." I really love how, as a society, we love good intentions. The problem though is, good intention is a terrible thing. Not inherently, good intention in an idealistic world should be a good thing. But good intention without empathy, without actions, can be a truly terrible thing. And I would argue that that's actually one of the biggest problems with Nigeria. In the last few weeks, Nigeria has been sort of hot with the whole protest coming up. And one of the articles I saw was talking about how our current president actually has very good intentions for Nigeria. I started wondering how many past governors, past presidents, past people in power that have had good intention. But one thing that actually struck me the most here is our parents. How do our parents have good intentions? I was talking to someone about how much medical practitioners are in, and the question was, why do parents tell their kids to study medicine if they earn so little? Why go through all that? The only thing I could think of is good intention. The parents do not inherently want their kids to suffer, and their good intention now is they want their kids to succeed. And how can they make that possible? They make it possible by choosing a path they have always known, and that's madness number 1, 2, 3, maybe. The madness here is wherein we have had a path we have always known, and because of good intention we give that path to someone else. And that's something I find very fascinating when I ask people for advice, because a lot of the times I've realized people only give advice based on their own path and understanding, which is on paper good intention. In reality, a lot of times it doesn't impute the idiosyncrasies of the individual you are giving the advice. But is good intention in this scope really that much of a problem in Nigeria? I don't necessarily think it is, but I feel like it's something I would love to mention. And the reason I'm mentioning it here is this: if we don't question actions because the intentions are good, can someone with good intention be manipulative unconsciously? Just pause and think about it. Have you ever been in a situation wherein you know for a fact that the person you are interacting with, you can't say that their intentions is bad, you know they mean well for you, but you can't shake the feeling that whatsoever they are telling you, whatsoever they are trying to portray to you, doesn't work for you, it's just bad for you. And when you're in that type of situation, how can you navigate it? For me, one way I navigate it is understanding what I want for myself and balancing it out by reinterpreting what that is for myself. So for someone like me that I do not believe in religion or organized religion, if my mom or any Christian person start preaching for me anytime they see me down and telling me how Jesus Christ will make me feel better, I understand that their intent is for me to feel better, and I focus on that. I don't care about the details of, oh, give your life to Christ and all that. And for some people, that advice will be good advice. For some other people, it becomes a terrible advice. And if that's the case, how can you communicate good intention? One example I like to give when it comes to communicating good intention is the problem of men telling women how to dress. In one hand, you cannot really truly tell if the intention of the man saying that is for the well-being of the woman or is for the patriarchal control of women. But how I usually tell people to communicate that is, give your reasons first. First of all, you are in no position to tell the other person how to dress, but if you can put it in a context, like, oh, no matter how you dress, you are likely to be sexually assaulted. But since you are going out in the middle of the night and you are going out alone, or you are not going out with someone that you can trust to protect you at all times, maybe wear something that will not drag as much attention to you. Now, you are communicating your intention, but you are not communicating it in a way that removes the freedom and expression of the person. You are not doing it in a way that stifles the person. Why am I focusing on this? Because I don't think this is a problem anybody really thinks about. But the vast majority of my listeners fall within the age bracket of 25 to 35. And that's the age most people start to think about giving birth to kids and starting their own family. Understanding how to communicate your good intention can really go a long way. Is this really the episode I should have given in this current climate? That's the thought process. So, is my intention noble in the way that there's a protest currently going on? There are political issues I can focus on, but I decide to focus on good intention. Now, how does that affect the broader Nigeria? When it comes to affecting the broader Nigeria, for a lot of people like myself who supported P2B, it's a question of, is good intention really enough to change the Nigerian problems? If we really have a president that genuinely have good intentions to help the masses, is it really enough? Or we are really in a system wherein there's nothing we can do that can make it work? Now, this is my solution to the good intention problem, which is a problem that is only a problem because I'm framing it as a problem. Work with me. Is long-sighted selfishness. Yes. Now, I created a problem out of good intention and I'm creating a solution out of selfishness. That feels ethically wrong already for most people. And if you have gotten this far into the episode, you might as well just let me ramble on. Why do I say long-sighted selfishness is the solution to the Nigeria good intention problem in a very national level? I would say the vast majority of the problem with Nigeria, at least in the way we the masses are experiencing it, doesn't come from corruption inherently. It comes from myopic corruption, very short-sighted one that even having good intention cannot help. And the reason having good intention cannot help is because, in one hand, even if you have good intention and you mean to do good for the country, the constitution first of all breaks power between three arms of the government at three levels: local, state and federal. Even if you are at the federal level, there are powers, there are departments in place, and you can never say your intentions that is good is the same for everybody at every level and every arm of the government. You can never say that. So we're in a situation wherein democracy do not account for human behavior. Democracy believes the voters will always think for the right person to vote for, and they will get it by the vote being pure. In reality, that is rarely ever the case. People vote for identity. Their politics is usually based on what they feel they can relate to. For most Nigerians, that's tribalism, and for me, that's very short-sighted. The reason it's short-sighted is, if you are currently Yoruba, our president is currently Yoruba, I don't think there's any fringe benefit of being Yoruba in a Yoruba government or being outside an Hausa government. If the economy is terrible, you'll still suffer. But if we think about selfishness and think that, oh, these people will come to steal, how can we make their stealing be an incentive for us to gain? That will be the thought process. Now, if as the masses we start voting for corrupt people that we know have an incentive to want to steal, and including that in our thought process, I feel the best thing we will first think of is, how can we create a system that their stealing will be beneficial for us? For me, with my ignorance, I would say decentralize the Nigerian government in a way that state has better control. But not just state having better control. State generate and keep back most of their earnings in such a way that 70% of all our earnings goes back to the state, only 30% go to the federal level. If you're a governor in a state that is poor, you can't steal as much. Your own selfish interest of stealing would make you put in more work to generate more money and that more money can now be stolen by you. I think the solution most times people will think of is, oh, how can we eliminate the corruption? Given that in my 20 plus years of living on it, the corruption has never been eliminated, I think I came to the conclusion that our good intention is not even good. Let's adapt a system wherein the corruption is fully appreciated. I look at America politics and I see the way lobbyists is part of their laws, is part of their constitution. You can see how that is truly corrupt, but it's part of it and it works on paper. I've really gotten to the point where on paper we don't work, in reality we don't work. We should adapt a system, as controversial as it may seem, we should adapt a system that will just be truly corrupt. Just the corruption is tied in a way that for you to benefit from it, you have to do some certain type of work. And that's selfishness. Selfishness is using your own self-interest as a basis for your decision making. For most Nigerians who already do that, it's just that it's very myopic. We think of the half bag of rice they will give us and we vote. We don't think of the next 4 years. So if we can include a system that incentivizes us to be truly corrupt and selfish, I feel that system will also force us to think long terms. So for me, decentralize Nigeria. But if we can't even decentralize Nigeria, we might as well just focus back on the simple things of good intentions. I think about your future kids and find ways to communicate your intention without them feeling choked. Bye.